Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Rosie, this is my husband Jeremy.
Hello.
So today we're going to be talking about our 11 months backpacking around Southeast Asia and Australia. We went to 8 different countries. We were backpacking around Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, Australia, Sri Lanka, India, Malaysia and Indonesia, which was just Bali, it wasn't the whole of Indonesia. So I asked ChatGPT to create 10 questions that people might want to know about backpacking for 11 months around Asia. I have the questions here. Jeremy's got his laptop here with photographs to kind of help us jog our memories, because this was from December 2022 until November 2023. So it was 11 months in total. It was a long time ago, but we're going to try our best and answer these questions and try and be as helpful and useful as possible. Question number 1. What were the top 3 highlights or must-visit destinations?
I think my first one. It's a very specific moment. Flying the drone on Cat Ba Island.
Yeah.
Cat Ba Island, this is tiny island next to Halong Bay, Lanka Bay.
In Vietnam.
And we flew the drone there. And when we saw the screen, it was a holy shit moment. Goosebumps, she was crying. It was such a beautiful thing. It's probably my favorite drone footage I captured in 4 or 5 years flying a drone.
Yeah.
And it was just insane. So yeah, the moment itself, you just us two standing on the side of the road flying the drone. It's not, a day trip, whatever, but that is really a massive moment I still remember to this day. Oh wow, whoa. Look at the mountain, look at that. Whoa. I did not expect that.
Oh my god! So I need to film my reaction because we're looking at the video of Jeremy's drone. It's making me cry because it's just too beautiful. I'm legit crying. It's insane. It's so beautiful. Oh my god, what is wrong with me? I think as well, so before that, the 2 years previously, we'd had a lot of family shit gone on. And we would just we'd been to Hanoi for a week where we were still just getting settled and figuring out what the heck we were doing. Went to Cat Ba Island and we were still kind of a bit pinch me, oh my god, we're actually travelling, we're doing this. And then to have that moment, there was that, and then also on the beach a day before or after or something, where I was like, oh my god, we're actually travelling, and I cried as well.
Yeah.
I think it was a combination of the incredible views, just feeling so grateful to be out there travelling, and then also just the contrast from what we'd had the 2 years previous to then have such a high. It felt even higher. Once you have your highs and lows, the highs feel even better. So that was definitely, I agree.
Yeah, I absolutely love this one.
Yeah.
I have another one already.
Okay, go on, because I don't know.
Okay.
Mine might be yours as well.
There's many good moments, but there's many that come to mind. But one of the second one that same a very goosebump moment was the 10,000 Buddha temple.
Yeah.
It was 10,000?
Yeah.
It was another temple in Vietnam, in Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City. By then you've seen I don't know how many temples already, starting to get temple fatigue.
We were templed out almost.
But you get into this temple that I've seen it on Google Map, but you just walk in the street from outside. It's in a back street. It's not sexy at all. You would never go there if you don't know it's there. And it's 5 or 6 floors. The first 4, whatever it is, just a temple with a Buddha in the middle. And then you get to the top floor. I got there first, and I was like, oh my god. And I went down. I said, Rosie, you need to film your reaction when you step there, because it's insane. Yeah, that was a goosebump moment. I was like, holy shit, I've never seen anything like it, and it's one of the most beautiful things I saw during this trip. And one of those moments I was like, oh my god. It's
basically a huge room with 10,000 Buddhas all along the walls, all 4 corners, all 4 walls.
Huge.
Huge, and it was just insane.
With a big one in the middle.
Never seen anything like it.
That was something that is probably not in many guidebooks, not a day trip again, whatever, but that was one of those goosebump moments.
Yeah, that was a good one. One of my favourite days was the day that we hired a motorbike in Siem Reap to go around the temples. And again, we'd been to Angkor Wat the day before or a couple of days before or something on a guided tour, so we'd seen that already. So it wasn't even necessarily seeing Angkor Wat, it was just us on a motorbike travelling around this park where there's 70 temples, something like that. We got a 3-day pass, so one day we did the tour and then 2 days we hired a motorbike and kind of did our own thing. And it was just so fun trying to navigate together, and I'm vlogging, so I'm hanging off the back of a motorbike woo, like this, and it was just such a good day. When we're travelling, we have, everyone, we have good days and bad days, days where we work in a cafe or days where we have an argument and bicker or something. And then there's really special days that really stand out, and to me that was one of the special days where it's just like we just got on so well, we just had the best day, we're both in the best mood, went and got that incredible food, went to like small temples where there was like nobody, and then temples where there was more people, and there was like elephant statues, we went to the elephant terrace one, and just like it was just such a good day.
We had like so many temples for ourselves.
Yeah.
It was like surreal to be on the spot.
Yeah.
Just each other, like, and
That was one of my top days.
yeah. On a similar note, so you've got time to think.
Yeah.
Another very good motorbike day was in Chiang Rai, Thailand. Not the second one, the first day.
Yeah.
When we went to the White Temple and then we went to the waterfalls. The White Temple was beautiful for a start.
Strange.
Yeah, strange, but beautiful. But then we went to this first waterfall and it was alright. Like we got there, it was beautiful, massive tall stuff, and I still remember like the power of the waterfall.
Yeah.
Like on me and stuff like that. And then we saw there's another one nearby, which it was a really nice waterfall, but the way there was the funny moment. Like, not an expert motorcycling driver thing, but like, oh my god, this road was like that in the countryside, like kind of a dirt road, but not really.
There was just
Going
us,
up
like, no one
and down,
around.
going up like that. We were both like laying in the front because we didn't want to be like going forward, and then going back. We're like both like, oh
I was
god,
literally holding onto the bike.
like
and,
pressing the brakes like a fucking idiot. It was so funny. Kind of scary sometimes, but also very funny to look back at it. But the waterfall at the end was really cool, and then we had the sunset on the way back and stuff like that. But that was such a fun day also. Kind of like, what the fuck day? Why did we did that? But it was so much fun when we did it. And like, yeah, like waterfalls were cool. So
I have a slightly different perspective on that day. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I would not
it's a
recommend...
memorable one.
Yeah, but I honestly was scared for my life. In like not a fun way, as in like, holy fucking shit, we're in the middle of absolute nowhere. If this bike breaks down, or if we fall, or if anything happens, we're fucked. And like I was vlogging some of it when we were flat, so like on the vlog I think it looks like we had the best time ever. But actually, like Jeremy said, like we'd be going down fucking hills like this, honestly. And I was just like breathe. Like I hate roller coasters. I'm not one for like thrill seeking, but honestly,
Yeah.
I was scared.
I didn't find this one scary. The other one, going up north
Maybe
and
I'm
stuff
mixing
like
both
that.
of them together then.
Like,
To me, they both go hand in hand.
But yeah, the first one I didn't find scary. It was adrenaline rush.
Yeah, aka scary.
Yeah, so yeah, that was one for me.
One of my favourite things we did was spend 3 weeks in Ahmed in Bali, because we had such a simple life there. I feel like when I'm by the ocean and when I'm in that environment, I'm a completely different person. In terms of like, I'm so chill. Like we'd wake up at like 9, get some breakfast, and we'd have banana pancakes and a bowl of fruit each with some like honey or whatever it was drizzled on top. We'd maybe go for a snorkel, and then we'd see like lobsters and triggerfish and Nemo fish, I know they're called clownfish, and like we'd see a sea cucumber, and every single day we'd see where it had gone, because they don't move very far or very fast, so overnight we'd be like, where's that sea cucumber today? And it'd be like first one to find it. And then we'd like have some lunch on the beach, maybe have a snooze. I had a massage one day. If we wanted to, we'd go to the cafe called Rimba and work, which also I really enjoyed. Like I feel like Malaysia and Indonesia was when I really found, well, we both really found our rhythm in terms of going to cafes and working, but then also living life and having fun. And it got to the point where we actually enjoyed going to a cafe and working, because we were working on things that we're both passionate about and both really enjoy. So like we'd go to a cafe and get some nice food, and then go back and go for a snorkel again. And like, again, it wasn't like anything crazy. It wasn't like the Taj Mahal or the Angkor Wat, or like we saw some really big things.
Yeah.
But it was more just like who I was in that moment. Like I didn't care about cute clothes. I didn't care about the way I looked. I didn't care about like loads of different things that consume me if I'm in a bigger city, let's say, or like somewhere, you know, I'm a bit more like, oh, I want to look nicer, I want to straighten my hair, or, you know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whereas there, I'm like, no, I just need a beach, some water and some fish, and go snorkeling, and just like, I just become like super chilled. I don't know, yeah, really loved it there.
Yeah, it was nice, yeah. I mean, after Taj Mahal was a highlight.
Yeah.
Like, seeing Taj Mahal was pretty sick, to be honest.
It was special because we got up at 4 a.m.
Right.
that day, and we got to the gates by like 4:40 or something. We were let in at 5 a.m, so we were literally the second and third people in there or something. And just seeing it like with the sunrise and not
yeah, for me,
absolutely
when we
swarming
were
with
like on the
people.
side of it and the sun was starting to thing,
Yeah.
and the light on it was just
a gorgeous like
So beautiful.
pinky orangey. Yeah.
So beautiful. That was pretty cool. Just like the 10 days on Koh Lanta as well.
Yeah.
Like literally having this little bungalow on the beach and just doing very simple life, similar to Ahmed. Just, 30 seconds between the door and the beach. Like, love that. Something outside it, I really enjoyed Melbourne in Australia.
Yeah.
First time going to Melbourne, we went there for my friend's wedding and we had time to explore the city, and what a cool city it was. I really enjoyed it.
Easily move there.
Absolutely love the city. I'm glad we went. Really cool vibe, beautiful parks in the nature. In the city, like big parks with like all the cockatoo and stuff like that. I really, really enjoy this city. To highlight also from Sri Lanka, the elephants.
Yeah,
The safari
my
for your
birthday.
birthday. I mean, that was very unique and special.
I loved that day.
And also the morning few hours swimming with turtle.
Yeah,
Like,
and the
that
race
was
there.
so cool. For 3 hours, just like literally burning our back.
Yeah.
And like just staring at the turtle eating,
Yeah.
basically. And just like coming up and down and up and down. Like, so cool. Like,
We have so many highs, honestly, so many good memories.
yeah.
We need to move on though, because we've done like 13 minutes.
Yeah,
And we're on question
I
one.
want to put one from Malaysia. The day trip we had in Lanka with Mama Yati to like waterfalls, see the sunset on the beach, another Skull Beach, beautiful one, stuff like that. And then
Yeah.
a few days later we did the cable car with the view on the top.
was
That
a
was
good
like
day.
so cool as well. I wanted to throw that in there.
Something, this is a little bit different. It's not really like a top moment, but more just something like I'm really proud of us for doing and was really different and something I never thought I would do. Oh, you have no idea what I'm on about. The overnight trains. I remember the first one we did, it was like a 16-hour overnight train.
Yeah.
I was so excited. I felt like I was having like a sleepover with my best friends. I had my Chris, I had my chocolate, we sat and watched a film, we like snuggled and then we went to bed, and it was just so unique being on a train that's literally shaking and there's like two people above you snoring and you just, I don't know, it was just like
It was fun.
really cool.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like this big magical special sunset, like whatever, it was just like us on an overnight train. But I remember just feeling so giddy and so happy and so like excited that we were like doing this fun thing. And
Yeah.
I think when I was younger, I always thought 35, you'd be like married with kids in a house and go on holiday once a year and do like, not the boring life, the regular everyday thing. I never thought I'd be like sleeping on an overnight train in the middle of Asia. Like, I don't know, it was really special to me. And I think that's probably super random to most people, but
It's funny looking at this. I can go on for a while.
I know, we've honestly...
You eating this chili in Vietnam and like being like, I can't breathe, like freaking out. That was pretty hilarious.
Insert the footage here.
Yeah.
I'm not alright.
Is it that far? You're crying.
I can't breathe.
Have some food, have that.
It's so spicy.
Have a noodle.
I can't.
Have some noodle. It'll calm you down. Or tofu, whatever it is. Or salad, actually. Just stick that in your mouth. That's gonna be the best video ever. Chile.
So spicy.
Climbing in Cameron Island and you giving up like
In Cameron Highlands?
the
Oh,
hike
yeah.
that we did, and you like
Gave up.
giving up and then
I'm joining
going
to the top.
at the end. Like that was a funny one. And then we like going down, holding to the rope and saying like, this is not fucking a moderate hike. This is not a moderate hike. When you need to use a rope. Like I shit like that.
If you have to use ropes, that's not moderate, that's extreme.
Made it.
Good view though. We've got funny memories.
The splash out water park as well in Malaysia.
That was
That was
fun.
funny as well.
Hiking the mountain in Bali was not a highlight
Yeah.
for me. I
It's
think
funny,
was
it's
cute.
twice I forget this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you'd enjoy that. Anyway, honestly, we need to move on. We have so many highlights. We've vlogged the
we
whole
can't
thing.
do 15 minutes per question.
No, yeah, we've vlogged the whole thing. There's so many videos. Go and watch them if you want to. But honestly, like, we just had the best year ever. And like I said, there was obviously lows. We will talk about that. But like, the highs were really fucking high. Like, so good. It wasn't just like going to the cinema or seeing a friend for a meal. It was
We
like...
did go to cinema once.
We did. But that was no way a high.
Yeah.
Like, the highs were like really, really high. Like, really amazing, special, once-in-a-lifetime days that you'll remember forever. I won't. That's why I document it all on YouTube. But anyway, so question number 2. What were your least favourite moments or destinations to visit?
One of them for you is going to be also an unforgettable moment.
Oh God, what happened?
No. Least favourite, I don't have too many, which is good. I would say Hoi An in Vietnam. Hated this place. Very pretty, but hated it.
But explain why. Give context.
It's a very pretty place, but it's the most touristy as hell place where you can't step more than like 3 meters without having someone jumping in front of you with like a menu or hey, come on my tour or whatever, trying to sell you shit.
Yeah.
Drive me banana. I hate that.
The town itself is absolutely stunning. Like,
Yeah, but
beautiful old buildings.
Need to
beautiful
empty it of the
temples.
people trying to sell shit every 3 seconds in your face.
Do you remember the mango cakes I got there? It's called mango cake, but it was actually peanuts
Yeah.
inside. Super random.
Overall, thing was India. I didn't like India. We've
Yeah.
been very clear about that. There was a few good moments in India, but overall the 6 weeks in India were not something that I didn't like it. I'm just gonna keep it this way.
Yeah.
Canggu, Bali, didn't like this place. And yeah, so yeah.
That was easy for you.
Yeah.
I had a couple of low moments. I got food poisoning twice. Once was I ate tuna in Sri Lanka and shat myself. I was sick. I was just so
That's what I meant by it's
ill.
also an unforgettable moment.
Honestly, I've never been so ill. We had histamine poisoning and we looked online, there's about 10 symptoms. I had 9 of them and then Jeremy had a rash, which was one of them. So I was like, you need to make yourself sick, else I'm taking you to hospital because I've just been so ill.
That was a funny one.
I also got food poisoning in Bali, this time also eating tuna. So I went off tuna for a little while. So food poisoning twice was a real low point because I just felt so ill. In Jodhpur, seeing a child get tattooed on the street made me feel physically sick and I nearly cried and it was just so shocking to me. Did I cry? Yeah. It was just so shocking to see a child getting a tattoo and I can't even explain. So that was also a real low point. And then I'm gonna get emotional. Oh. Oh, Grandma died.
We don't need to elaborate.
Well, it's worth talking about because it's part of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk in detail, but... Okay, we'll get through it. Last one was when my grandma was ill. We were in Bali and we booked flights home that same day. And I just cried the whole way home. And it was really sad. And I think that's a really hard part about travelling, is being away from home and being far from home and like not being there for like birthdays, Christmases. I don't mind about missing that, but you know, like if somebody's ill or in hospital, it's really scary. And that was a really hard moment for me. I just cried non-stop all the way home, didn't I? Yeah. So that was my 3. Just give me a second and we'll be back.
One of the highlights I forgot before was the meal that we got offered in Sri Lanka, in Bali. Every day we pretty much went to the same place for food.
Oh,
and
yeah.
just before we left, the guy invited us for an amazing dinner. There was food for 10 people.
Yeah.
And that was so kind. He didn't have to do that, and that was so cool. And a low moment that I don't know if you forgot about it, but like another Christmas in a hotel room of you being sick. It's been like 2 or 3 years in a row now that we literally had like Christmas Day in bed because Rosie is feeling not well, and that was in Saigon.
Yeah.
Just wanted to.
And I remember, was it like Christmas Eve or Christmas Day? But like we went down the party strip and there was like so many bars and clubs and
Christmas
things
Eve.
like this. And I didn't want to. I have major FOMO. I didn't want to miss out, so I was like, I'll go with you. Jeremy was like, you're really ill, and I was like, no, I really want to come with you. So I went with him, and the whole time I'm like. And we ended up going to a restaurant and the smell of it, I ran to the toilet and threw up and then ran again and had diarrhea.
Okay, moving.
It was awful.
But yeah.
So yeah, we do have low moments. It's not all fun and games, but the highs are really high, and I do think food poisoning you can get anywhere at any point. The low for me really is like not being with family for not special moments, but important moments, I guess. And then, like you said, India really just had so many awkward moments there where I just felt so uncomfortable. In terms of the poverty, in terms of the staring, in terms of the men, in terms of just like so much about India really made me feel uncomfortable. And not in like a fun, like, yay, I'm travelling, I feel uncomfortable, in like a, no, I really don't enjoy this.
Moving on.
Question number 3. How did you navigate transportation between countries and within each country?
We use public transport as much as possible because it's the cheapest option. I would say probably like 75% of our commute was done by bus.
And trains, buses and trains.
Buses and trains, yeah. Yeah, trains were surprisingly good, to be honest,
Yeah.
in Asia, stuff like that. Yeah, so yeah, buses and trains. And then when we don't have a choice, like in Bali, private taxi. Or when we do like small day trip and stuff like that we have to take a private taxi. But yeah, bus, train, I think we took like only one domestic flight or two, like just one I think in Thailand.
In Thailand,
We
yeah.
tried to fly less because it's more expensive. You can get buses for usually 10, 20 euro maximum, and trains when, you know, a bus is always 100 and something when you have a flight. Yeah, when a flight is always like 100 and something when you have to check in a bag, stuff like that. So we try to reduce that. So yeah, no, public transport is very easy. Asia is such an easy country to travel. You go to want2go.asia, so like the number 1, number 2, and then go.asia, and you can basically book anything like train, buses, even plane or boat if you want on there. So it's very easy to find transportation through this platform, and it works in pretty much all the countries. So easy to navigate.
Quick rundown. We basically flew to Hanoi in Vietnam, did the whole of Vietnam via buses, ferries, overnight trains. We then got a bus from Kanto to Phnom Penh in Cambodia, got a bus from there to Siem Reap, got a bus from Siem Reap to Bangkok in Thailand, did most of Thailand in buses and trains, got a flight from the north back down to the south, because then it just would have taken like 2 days of travel or like 4 hours, so it was just like, let's just fly, make it quick. We then flew to Australia and then flew to Sri Lanka, and then in Sri Lanka we basically stayed in one place for a month and then did bus day trips or train day trips even.
Local trains and local buses.
Yeah. Like third
like
class.
you see on TVs when it's like rammed and everyone is like that. Yeah, we did that.
And the buses, you feel like it's going to fall apart. Yeah. After Sri Lanka we flew to Delhi, and then Delhi, Agra, Jaipur, Jodhpur, Rishikesh was all trains. Flew to Malaysia, so flew to Kuala Lumpur, and then in there it was all
buses all the time.
Buses.
So good.
From Malaysia we flew to Bali, and then in Bali we got taxis. So it was mostly trains and buses, one flight, sometimes flights between the countries if we had to, depending on where we were going.
What islands, basically.
Yeah.
On this water.
But also, especially because we went to Australia and then back to Sri Lanka, like that would have been obviously a shorter and cheaper flight had we just done it direct. But yeah, so mostly that basically. Question number 4. What were the most surprising or unexpected experiences you had during your travels?
I've got to say that despite every warning that we got, positive or negative, and despite everything that you can read or see, India was a slap in the face.
Yeah.
Nothing got me ready for what it was going to be.
No.
Because people talk often about the smell, the noise, the poverty, stuff like that, and all of that was true, but what really made me the most uncomfortable was like the constant staring of the people, and no one told us about that. I didn't know about that. If people told me, I didn't remember it.
And want you to take pictures as well.
And
really
so that was a real culture shock, you know, when you talk about culture shock, like that was a big one. I mean, in terms of like surprising, unexpected, like, oh my god, what the hell is that moment? Hanoi was a bit of one. So,
the motorbikes!
Yeah, like when you arrive and first experience in Asia, sort of, and seeing like so many motorbikes, like crossing the street in Vietnam was just mental. Like you walk and you're getting avoided by the motorbikes and everything, and you just have to not stop. And like the first time we had to cross the road, luckily an old guy kind of say like, okay, just follow me. But yeah, I don't know, like yeah, that was a fun, unexpected thing. Like you hear about it, but you know when you're there, it's a different story.
Yeah. So I just tried to cross that road behind me there, and there was a guy crossing, so I was like, Jeremy, we're crossing with him. So we like stuck to him, and then like as we were crossing, I was like, like making all these funny noises, and the guy was like laughing at me because I'm like shitting myself crossing the road. But
I guess the last one overall, unexpected in a very good sense, is how safe Asia was.
Yeah. The
sense of safety that we got there. And even in India, like even if it was very uncomfortable, I've never felt really like, maybe a couple of times, threatened or stuff like that. Like twice maybe, yeah, when these kids were following us. But
I didn't feel threatened, but I would not go without you.
No, yeah. But like overall, like the safety in Asia was really nice.
I think actually, just reminding me, I think one of the most surprising or unexpected experiences, I think, was Malaysia and how normal it felt. Because I think we went to, obviously, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, Sri Lanka, India, and then Malaysia. So we'd seen a lot of Asia. We'd seen a lot of different cultures, different people, different towns and cities, whatever. And then Malaysia felt so normal. Comfortable. And to the point where I was a bit like, I feel like I live here and I can't wait to bring my parents here. As in like, I want them to see where I live now, because I just felt so at home there. I think just the people in Asia were incredible. So respectful, so kind, so helpful, so generous. You know, Mama Yati took us out for food one day, and like just, you know, even in Katba Island, they invited us for that family dinner. In Sri Lanka, we got a free meal. Like, and it's just people just being so generous and so kind. Not that I expected anything less. I didn't have bad expectations, but I think just people's hospitality, and I think the level, like the level of respect and the level of like cleanliness and just bar India and maybe Sri Lanka, but like Malaysia in particular, I had no expectations. I had never even thought about going there. It was just a bit like, well, it's on the way to Bali, we may as well go, and we can stay 3 months, we'll stay 3 months. But I really felt at home there. I could easily live there. I just loved, everybody speaks English as well, which makes it so easy. And I just, when you go somewhere and you have like zero expectation and then the reality is like 100, it's way better than thinking someone's going to be 100 and then actually it's like a 50.
Like India was for you.
I really thought I would love India and I really didn't enjoy it. So I think that was one of my kind of unexpected experiences, was how much I loved Malaysia.
And I guess I'm just going to add one, is I was kind of worried, going like opposite of what you said about Thailand. I had a lot of expectation about Thailand. Because it's so hyped up by so many people. And I was like, I hope it's good, because my expectation was really high, and it was. And it was so cool to be surprised by how cool it was and how true it was. So
Next question. Can you share any budgeting tips or strategies for traveling in Asia for an extended period?
Get a YNAB subscription.
Still not sponsored, guys.
I'm not getting paid to say that. I literally paid yesterday my subscription, so I'm not. YNAB is a software, a service, an app. It means you need a budget. And it's a website or phone app where you basically put your accounts, and then when you have, let's say, 10K or whatever, like you budget your money into envelope, like this is for accommodation, this is for food, this is for whatever, and you track when you spend money so you know where your money is going. When you travel for such a long time, you need to remember that you're not being, for us at least, we were not on vacation. We can't afford to do what all the tourists are doing. We can't eat in the super nice restaurant every day. We can't do every single day trip with private guide. We can't
stay
do
in posh hotels,
like all those things, because you know, when you go somewhere for 2 weeks, like you can splash it out, you save for it and you have a really good time, you live like a king, whatever. This is our normal life. We don't have an unlimited budget. Our money has to be stretched out for a good amount of time. So we need to remember that we live there, we're not tourists there. So knowing how we spend our money and keeping an eye on our spending is helpful, because we can say, okay, like we are spending way too much on that compared to how much we're making. And having the data and just being able to see that is helpful when you travel for so long. Usually when you're on holiday, you don't care. Like this cocktail for $25, you're gonna pay for it. Because it's why not? But we cannot do that every day. We cannot fall into the trap of living like a tourist every single day, like we're on vacation. Otherwise, we would be broke.
Just to give you context, for our honeymoon in 2016, I think we spent 10,000 in 3 weeks.
Yeah, pretty much,
When we've been traveling last year, we spend 1,500 per month for 2 people. So like when you're on honeymoon, when you're on vacation, like Jeremy said, you can splash the cash, do all of the things, stay in posh hotels and drink alcohol and go out for nice meals and do day trips and do that whole thing. We're not doing that. We're living life abroad.
And we're not rich.
No, we're not rich. So it's very different. I think something I would say as well is to spend money on things that you will remember. So like we will spend money on a day trip when we think it's going to actually be really worth it. Like a day trip in Halong Bay around all the islands, or a day trip, I can't think of another one, but we did a lot of day trips, like hiring motorbikes around Siem Reap, or like doing all these different things. We do day trips because they oftentimes are the things that you remember the most, along with the little moments, like I said, about getting an overnight train or whatever it is. But those day trips are like, wow, that was a really special day. So definitely spend money on those. But I would say you can then save money on things like accommodation, food, transport. Like when we got buses and trains, we do tend to get the first class, but it's like, 30 quid rather than 25 quid or something. Like it's not a huge difference in first class travel when you're in Asia.
It is necessary.
But it's necessary because you get AC, you get comfier bed, things like you get more privacy, things like that. I'd say there definitely is times where you can go to a warung in Malaysia or Bali and kind of have like an all-you-can-eat situation for a lot cheaper than going to like a Western style hotel restaurant where it's going to cost 10-20 times the price. So I would say spend money where you want to, where you're really going to remember. And if you're a foodie, by all means go to a really nice restaurant, but then maybe spend less on accommodation. Or if you're an accommodation person, go to a nice hotel but spend less on other things. So really try and think about what's going to make your experience special.
Yeah, spend your money where you want. Like, there is this concept from Ramit Sethi, who's got this book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, and a podcast as well, the same name. And he talks about living your rich life, and by that it means spending the money that you want on things that really makes you happy, and being very frugal on the things that don't bring you any joy, or that you don't care about, and just like being very like kind of binary, but at least you get very highs, and you just when you don't care, like you just don't care. So we like experiences, we like to experience stuff, and we will favor that rather than
a posh hotel,
an upgrade on a room.
Yeah.
Because ultimately it's still a fucking bed with an AC where you sleep, like, stuff like that. So like, and
believe
again, it's
me,
just priority, like,
but believe me, if we had a load of money, I would stay in posh hotels. I would do that.
You would, I would do, like, I would stay in the same ones pretty much, but so I would say like, know where your money is going and prioritize what you really care about. At least you can have very good experiences on this side, whatever that is, rather than the thing that you don't really care about, that don't bring you so much joy.
Next question. What cultural customs or traditions stood out to you the most? I think one of the cultural customs that comes to mind is in Bali, where they have the offerings that they make. I remember on our honeymoon, we stayed in a hotel and I made that with some of the girls. And that's something that I personally have only ever seen in Bali, where they have the offerings on the street. And oftentimes you're like almost about to stand on it, or you kick it by accident and you're like, oh my god, I feel horrendous. I feel so bad.
There's so much on the floor everywhere.
There's so much everywhere. And it's an interesting one because it's kind of like, wow, it's so special and so unique and so beautiful. It's such a beautiful thing to have an offering and to do that, and it's such a practice and like it's part of their culture. On the flip side, this might get some hate, but it is so interesting at how much waste there is and how much, like, there was people specifically making the little basket things, and like they stay there for a day and then they just get cleared up and put in the bin. So
it's all natural stuff though, so it's
it is
all
plastic, natural, but it is interesting though. That was one of them. I think another one of the cultural things was in Hoi An, where they put the lanterns in the water. That was a bit frustrating because you just like basically littering the waterways with paper lanterns, which it looks beautiful on photographs. I understand that Hoi An is like full of lanterns everywhere and it's so beautiful, so pretty, so colourful.
But also it's not cultural, it's just because tourists like it, so they put more over the years. You remember that?
I don't remember that.
No?
But I think
that we ask why there are lanterns in Hoi An or whatever, and there's nothing cultural.
But even in the water?
Yeah, like the whole thing is just, they made it just for tourists because tourists liked it, so.
Well, even more so. Like, I understand all the beautiful lanterns and like the photo opportunities and having lanterns outside shops and how pretty it looks. I don't particularly agree with putting it in the water and letting it just float down, disintegrate. You just got a load of candles in the water then. So that was another cultural thing that I guess stood out. I'm trying to think of, I think also the religion side of things, like how many temples there were, especially in Chiang Mai. I think there's 400 temples in this walled city that isn't particularly huge, but where we'd walk it in 20 minutes, something like that, from side to side.
Yeah, half an hour,
Yeah. So it's quite a small area and there's 400 temples, and I think like they're all different, they're all somewhat similar in like the shape and the design, and with the supta in the back or stupa in the back and things like that. So like, yeah, I think like the amount of temples that we saw, like we said, we were nearly templed out because
at some
so
point
many
it's just,
temples.
oh, it's Buddha.
Yeah. Another temple, great. Yeah. But that was particularly interesting. And actually it brings me on to Bangkok, where I went to see a gold Buddha that was worth $250 million because it's pure solid gold. And what happened was, I'm going to not know the dates and things, but generally what happened was somebody made it, and then I think people were going to come and take it, or someone invaded Thailand, whatever it was, so they covered it in stucco, like they covered it in plastic. And then for a couple, like 200 years or something, they just thought, or I probably got that wrong as well, for an amount of time, they thought it was just this like plaster Buddha. And then they were going to move it and it was super heavy. It fell and cracked. And then it was at night time, so they thought, right, we'll have to come back the next day. Went back the next day and they noticed that there was gold underneath and it was just a layer. So they ended up peeling off all these layers and then there stood this pure gold Buddha. And I think there's different levels of gold. Like I think the head section is the most carats of gold, and then there's arms. It's broken up into 9 different pieces. And that was one of those where it's like, wow, you're never going to see a Buddha made out of pure gold that size that's worth $250 million.
Yeah.
That was like a really cool cultural thing to see. And I also think actually, I got a few actually, in Rishikesh, when they would, you know, go in the river Ganges and like wash themselves, and they'd have the rituals where they'd sing and chant and have their candles, and that was like a whole thing that like I'd never seen before. And like, because I'm not religious at all, so I have like 0 religious activities or whatever you want to call it. So I think seeing different practices, so I think seeing different religious practices around the world. So you've got the temples, you've got the Buddhas, you've got the, you know, washing themselves in the Ganges and that whole process with the singing. And yeah, it was really interesting to see different cultures within the same continent. 'Cause I think a lot of people think if you go to Asia it's all the same, or if you go to Europe it's all the same, if you go to America it's all the same, where actually you do see a lot of different things within that one country even, or you know, a couple of countries that are close to each other.
I guess I'm not the big cultural guy here. She's the cultural guy in the couple, but no, I guess I would say like it was interesting to see the very heavy past that a lot of those countries have because of like, you know, being invaded by other countries and stuff like that. And like a lot of the museums that we went to visit were very, you know, like the Vietnam War Museum or the Killing Field in Cambodia, stuff like that. Like learning about the history of each country was interesting because it's very different to what we are used to as European, I would say, the history of the country. So that was interesting. Yeah, the presence of religion. Something that I often wonder when I visit those big temple or religious sites, even now in Central America, I find it amazing how many amazing buildings and sites around the world in the past have been built for religious purposes, and they're still present now. And I always wonder, like, I always say, Rosie, like, do you think in 500 years or in 1,000 years or in 2,000 years, there's gonna be people, assuming we're still around and we didn't fuck up Earth by then, but like, there's gonna be people visiting buildings that we've built in our lifetime.
Like the Shard in London.
Yeah, and like I don't think about it because most of the buildings that we build now are just capitalist driven. Like they don't have any significance, you know, like the Taj Mahal that is for love, or this temple that is for that, or whatever. Like
they're all offices or
pretty
shops.
much everything that's been built, like, you know, like the Eiffel Tower, but like most of the things that are built now, first, are not on a scale of those, you know, Angkor Wat or Taj Mahal or stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. I find it very interesting how they spend so many years and how many lives even probably would use or sacrifice to build those crazy things that we visit this day. And I always wonder, like, if in 1,000 years there's going to be people visiting what we did in our lifetime, stuff like that. I don't know. Yeah.
Like Angkor Wat was so interesting because I had thousands of people carving the stones. They built the as far as our guide told us, but then people commented on the video saying that the guy was absolute nonsense. But as far as I was told, they built the wall and then people had to etch or
carve it out. Yeah.
Carve out that section, and they would spend their whole life doing one section of wall. So the amount of people and the amount of skills, the amount of time, the amount of energy that goes into that versus these days it's like glass buildings for offices or shops and like it's just not at all the same. Sticking on the culture thing though, the last thing I'll say is Kanto and with the morning boat market, because that felt like something that I thought might be a touristy thing, and it's just for the tourists to go and see some cute boats on the river and like you could buy a pineapple or whatever. But actually, knowing that it's like the delta from that huge river that goes all the way through Asia, through like Laos and Cambodia, just going there in the morning for like we were on the boat and it was dark, and then we arrived, it was sunrise, and seeing like a boat of pineapples, a whole boat of watermelon, a whole boat of this, and they had little boats where you could get on and get some food, and they sold fish, and like that was a whole culture in itself that I really thought was just going to be super tourist. I really thought it was going to be like just a touristy thing to do, so I wasn't super pumped to do it. I just thought, oh, why not? We're here. But actually, it was really interesting to see that people actually go there for their veggies, and like it's an actual thing that people do. So I think that was really different to anything I'd seen before as well. So lots of culture, and I'm probably forgetting half the things as well. Next question: did you encounter any language barriers, and if so, how did you overcome them?
Why,
Yes.
yeah. I mean,
The first one.
pretty much every country has a different language over there, apart from Malaysia and Indonesia.
The best one though was arriving in Hanoi. Like this was our like first like, okay, we'll go to Hanoi. No one speaks a word of English, not a single word, which is fine. I'm not slating it, but we would just be like, okay. So I think we learnt the words. I don't remember now, but we learnt the words for like pork, chicken, rice, and like hello, thank you. Too, I think we even learnt. But we would go for food and we'd basically walk around the streets. There'd be a little old grandma in her 70s or 80s with like a pot of food, and we'd be like, two, please, whatever please was in Vietnamese, I don't remember now. And then she'd just serve us the food, and then, and it was just like, you just get on with it. You just...
And then you show your money, they take whatever they want because you don't understand how much it is, and the price is always different.
Yeah, and you just take what they need.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool. Like I said, Malaysia, obviously, they spoke English. Australia spoke English. Sri Lanka, India spoke English. So a lot of the places, Bali, a lot of people did as well.
Yeah.
I would say the most, not shocking, the most different one that didn't speak English was Vietnam for me.
Yeah, probably,
And then Cambodia, Thailand, people spoke a bit of English. You could get by.
Yeah, Vietnam was probably the least English-speaking country that we have to. Yeah, I mean, that's something you encounter all the time when you travel anyway, the language. And how do you get by with it? I would say just try to get a few words in each. Whenever you arrive in a country, get the basic hello, thank you, goodbye. Just to be polite. People usually appreciate that. And then use your fingers, use your movement. That's my best thing. Like like
you can
point.
You can also communicate being just like, this is how much money, or like
and then honestly, we live in an age where
Google Translate.
Google Translate, pull up your camera, it translates the menu, and then you point. It's so easy those days. So yeah.
I think also in Vietnam, I really wish I remembered now, but like learning the basics of what was the meal, the pho bo. So pho is soup and bo is beef. So it was just so easy. If you say pho bo and then the other one was chicken and something, I don't remember what that was either. But once you learn like 2 or 3 of the key staple meals, you kind of figure out, okay, well, if I like pho bo, I'll just get a pho bo because I know I'm going to enjoy it. And bloody hell did I eat pho bo. I loved it. Especially because we were there in like December. So it was...
There's a food question.
Oh, okay. Okay, next question. What were your favourite local dishes or food experiences? Pho bo. Because we were there in December, so it was cold. We would have I had even like my puffer jacket and my scarf and things. Like I was actually quite cold there. So sitting there with a noodle soup with beef, and especially with lots of lime, and it was quite salty, quite limey. It was like some of them the beef was delicious. Some of them the beef was a little bit chewy and not great. But when you found a good one, oh my god, it was so good. So good.
Yeah.
Where was it where I choked on my food? We were talking about this earlier. In Kanto. We'd get noodles, and for some, like the thicker noodles, I'd be fine. I could eat them and chew them. Some of them, though, the noodles were super thin. I'd put them in my mouth, and then they'd like slide down my throat without me meaning to. And it happened quite a few times where I didn't like coughing, and like coughing up my throat, and then having to actually chew it and then swallow it. But it wasn't that I wasn't chewing my food, it was just that it would just slip down my throat and then I'd like choke on it. But this one time we're in a restaurant and I started coughing, it wouldn't come up, and you can feel it like dangling down your throat. I was coughing so much, I made myself sick in the bin, and it was like, that was it. I had to stick my hand in my mouth at some point
so
and like pull the noodles out of my mouth because it was just down my throat and I couldn't cough it up. So I was literally like, like vomiting at the same time. So that was awful. So I know this is not the best angle, but we just got back from lunch and it was nice, but I almost died about 3 times because there's the noodles and then there was green, I don't know if I showed, but there was like green, not green noodles, like green salad, but noodly that long. And about 3 times when I was like eating the noodles, something would slide down the wrong side of my throat. I'd have to be like, ooh, like to Jeremy. And then this last time it happened, it went down and I couldn't get it out. And I was like, Jeremy. And then I was like trying to stick my hand in, trying to pull it out. I couldn't grab hold of it. And then I was like coughing, and then I ended up being sick. And then so after that, I was like trying to eat my food with like the taste of sick in my mouth. And like I'd got a bit shaky because I'd been sick. And then it gave me a headache because the heat and the coughing and the sick. So anyway, we're back at the hotel having a lay down. It was delicious, apart from the fact that I nearly died. That was meant to be favourite things, though. That was not a favourite food experience. Also, food poisoning was not my favourite experience.
I'm gonna go.
Favourite ones, though?
In Vietnam, the big fat spring rolls, especially in Hanoi.
Yeah, they were good.
There was someone selling them in a corner of this place. It was so good. Cambodia, bloody pork. The big pork, like roasted on a tiny thing on the street, like local place that no tourist would ever go there. Someone took us there. One of the most delicious meal I ever had with like banana tree grated and like crispy fatty bit of pork and sausages made of like amazing.
I don't usually eat pork, especially fat, especially skin, especially anything like that. It was delicious, let me tell
Insane.
you. Absolutely, like, I'm not a pork eater. Absolutely delicious.
And it was like €2.
We went 3 times.
Yeah, like they would know us. Oh, you're back.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you see many tourists there because it wasn't, you know.
Especially 3 days in a row, whatever, or 3 days in a week.
In Thailand, pad thai, the one in Koh Lanta by this woman next to the supermarket, amazing. And dumplings in Chiang Mai at the night market on the north. I had so much, like every day I had so many dumplings, and also in Bangkok.
Oh no, what are they called? Not dumplings, gyozas.
Yeah, gyoza.
Yeah.
They call it dumpling. We call it gyoza. Yeah, like so good. I'm going 1 meal per country.
Yeah, I'll do the same.
In Sri Lanka, the kotu with the how do you call it? The triangle.
Roti.
The roti. Very spicy, but honestly, I really enjoy them. I thought about it like 2 nights ago when I was going to sleep. I was like, oh, I would have a roti right now. Yeah, we like the roti and the kotu.
Okay, so this is our lunch. So I've got the kotu and the vegetables. I've got my sausage roll, which has now been out in the fridge for like 3 or 4 hours. I chopped up 2 tomatoes. We basically have 1 each, about a quarter of a pepper, and about half one of those small cucumbers. And then this is Jeremy's plate. He has some rice left over from the other day, and then he's having these, but I'm having the bread roll instead today. But tomorrow and tonight I'll have these. And then we also have yogurt because sometimes these rotis, these ones are all right, but some of the vegetable ones can be quite spicy, so we like to have them with yogurt. But yeah, that's our typical meal here.
In India, honestly, didn't like India, but the food was incredible most of the time.
Yeah.
Especially in New Delhi. This guy, this street vendor, I think went like that like 4 or 5 times, was doing those like sticks, like skewers with sauce and mushroom and
what was the cheese?
Cheese,
Paneer.
paneer. Food in India was really good, especially in New Delhi. That was my favorite. The fresh grilled fish in Ahmed.
You've missed Malaysia.
Yeah, I can't think of any meal from Malaysia, so that's why I'm skipping it.
Sushi.
Very traditional, right? No, yeah, in Ahmed, the woman, like the owner of the place, at 4 or 5 p.m., she was walking from the street with like a barracuda and a mahi-mahi. And it's like, oh, I'm having that for dinner. And like grilled there and having this fresh fish every day. Love that. I have nothing coming from Malaysia, so. Okay,
mine. Vietnam was the pho bo. I think that's the only one really. Cambodia was the pork in Siem Reap that Jeremy talked about. Thailand was it's probably all going to be the same. Oh, the meal I had in Bangkok, we went to a restaurant called Carrot something.
Mango.
No, it was Carrot something. And I had a superfood salad. It was like super Western, but it was absolutely delicious, especially having I felt like we ate a lot of chicken and rice that year in Asia. So it was so good to have a bowl with loads of fruits and veggies, and it was just delicious. Absolutely loved that. In Australia...
Oh, food in Australia is shit.
I don't remember. Yeah. Sri Lanka was the kotu. That was really good. I did like the rotis, but they were too spicy for me, so I had to buy a tub of yogurt, and I'd slather it in yogurt every single mouthful so I could actually eat it, and even then I'd still be like... India, a lot of the food was really good.
Yeah.
When we arrived in Delhi, we kind of walked around and found a restaurant around the corner. He did really good food.
There's 1 table inside.
Yeah, it was like a nothing restaurant, but it was so good, such good local food. That was probably one of my favourites. I also enjoyed eating the cakes there. They had little cakes that tasted like sand almost, and it was
the almond.
Yeah,
the almond,
it was almondy sand textured biscuit cake things. It was so unusual compared to everything I've ever had before, so I enjoyed eating them. And then the restaurant in Rishikesh was quite good. In the hotel, he was a good chef.
Oh, what was it, the crepe, kind of they make we had pretty much that every day. It was that kind of crepe with cheese inside of it. Parantha, yeah, that was good, yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. Malaysia.
I have my Malaysia one.
Go on.
It's not one meal that we enjoyed in Malaysia was in Kuala Lumpur, the honey sesame chicken.
Yeah.
That was quite good. Overall, what I loved in Malaysia was those warung, which is like an all you
Yeah.
kind of not all you can eat because you pay for what you get. But basically, they have like a buffet. You get your plate. You take as much food as you want. There's like chicken and rice, and then veggies and
Nuts.
what is stuff that we like? Sorry,
Tempeh.
And then the guy look and it's like he says a number.
Yeah.
And when I say that, it's because I was usually taking the same things. I was going back every day, and I was never paying the same price.
No.
The guy was just making it up on the go. But usually it was cheap. Like I am a quantity kind of guy for food, and like what I could get for my 2 or 3 bucks was insane.
Yeah.
And I love this concept. I could
Oh, how can I forget? Mango sticky rice.
mango sticky rice from Thailand.
From Thailand.
Mango from
Oh,
Thailand,
Mangoes in Thailand. Round
not in India.
Round of applause.
And nothing about India. It's just because it's different kind of mango and it just taste differently. The one from Thailand,
Mango sticky rice. There was one especially in Chiang Mai market in the
Yeah.
South Market where we were staying. We'd have mango sticky rice and she had like crispy bits on top that was so
it's
good
coconut milk.
with milk. And then the other things we got from there was those little donuts.
Oh,
Those little donut things. And then we'd get a sauce
with
that
a
was
black sesame.
black sesame
sauce.
sauce.
Oh, that was good.
And we'd have it in the morning sometimes. We get like 6, you have 3 each, and it was like in 2, it was like a cross or
Yeah.
something. So you almost had like 6 little pieces and like dunk it in and like fresh, crispy, delicious
good.
donuts. So good.
Just to wrap this up, food in Asia is as good as the legend. It's really good.
The other thing as
Right.
well though, like the market in Chiang Rai, for example, or in lots of different places, like I said, we ate a lot of chicken and rice. And a lot of it was in warungs where we'd get like a piece of chicken, a bit of rice, a bit of egg, a bit of veggies, whatever. But a lot of the time the chicken and rice was so good. It
Yeah.
wasn't like there was once in Bali it was shite. Was it in
The
Bali?
chicken and rice that we had in Vietnam, in Can Island when
That
we did
was
this day
it.
trip, and
Awful.
chicken and rice. It was actually white rice and white pieces of boiled chicken.
Not many.
It was funny.
But,
Yeah.
1 minute, but a lot of the time, like you're getting the same meal in terms of it is just chicken and rice, but they'll do like spicy, or they'll do like a honey sesame, or they'll do a little bit of a teriyaki, or they'll do like whatever. Like it's always different and always delicious. Like it was, twice it was shite, but the rest of the time I had chicken and rice, it was so good. And it's such a basic meal, but once it's done correctly, it's
Works really
really
well.
good. Indonesia, all the salads and the smoothie bowls and things. But what I will say, I know. Oh, and also the tempeh. I do love tempeh. What I will say though, in terms of food when you are traveling, try and go to the local places. We're doing the same here in Mexico. If you walk around and you see 20 local people sat in there eating, go and eat there. Don't go to the touristy place. Don't go to the hotel restaurant. Don't go to the like cool Instagram spot. Find out where there's locals and go there. And also you can just ask them like, what's good? What should I have? What do you recommend?
Yeah.
Because that's where you're going to get the best food, also the best prices. And the other thing I'd say is if they've got a menu with like 20 pages of like, 100 different meals, don't do it, don't go there. Try and find someone who does
A one meal place.
maximum
Yeah.
3-5 meals. It's going to be good because they're doing that every single day for 30 years. That meal is absolutely fucking delicious
Yeah.
because they've mastered it. They know exactly what they're doing. They do it every single day. Go to those places, not the places where it's like 100 like meals
Yeah.
and they do chicken, burgers, this, that. Like, don't do that. Go to somewhere where they do like one meal and they do it really well. That's my advice for food when you're traveling.
For the grandma also. When
Find
you see
a grandma.
When you see a grandma cooking, it's usually a good sign.
Yeah.
No, yeah, the food is good in Asia. I really like that.
How did you handle accommodation while traveling for such a long duration? Any memorable stays?
So how we handled it, we did. It is funny. I don't know why, but for pretty much like half of the trip, we did Booking.com,
Yeah.
and then for the other half, we did Airbnb. I don't know why suddenly I thought I'm gonna look at that, and then we just keep But yeah, Booking.com and Airbnb. Our budget was about €20 a night, and we found good accommodation. Read the reviews. I guess that's the only thing I would say, to be honest. Check the reviews. Don't trust the pictures. The pictures were taken when the building was built.
Yeah.
And it's been 20 years, so just read the reviews, make sure the reviews seem reliable based on where you come from. Look at reviews from people from your country or stuff like that,
Yeah. That was the same level of
like they have a similar expectation, because when you go to a country but then like it's only Thai people leaving reviews for a Thai hotel, they're used to something when we are used to a thing, stuff like that. So at least you're comparing what's comparable. But no, I guess a little tip: if you use Booking.com enough, you can get like Genius level 2. Basically, if you do more than I don't know how many trips, you get a certain level of like reward, and then if you get more, you get a second level, and then you get 15 or 20% off on your stays. So when you travel in a new hotel every week, that can save you a good bunch of money. And another tip to save money is that the longer you stay, the cheaper it is usually, especially on Airbnb. From a week, you can get like 10% discount. If you stay a month, it's cheaper. And something else, I guess, that I can throw in there, we haven't done it much, but all those platforms takes a commission, that's like 15%. So you can always book a couple of nights, and then you pay like in cash at the place for the rest of the things, and you're probably going to save about 15% that, you know, it's not going to go to Booking or Airbnb.
The other thing I would say is obviously we didn't stay in hostels. We always wanted private rooms with AC, with
good internet,
and quiet, and usually a private bathroom. We did do shared bathrooms a couple of times, but you can definitely make it cheaper if you stay in hostels. You can definitely make it more expensive if you stay in posh hotels. Obviously, just try and find your budget. And any memorable stays? I've got a few. I think the tent we stayed in Udawalawe in Sri Lanka. I loved the aesthetic of it, and I loved the fact that we stayed in a tent in Sri Lanka.
Bloody sauna.
It was hot as shit. It was so, we were like sweating our balls off. It was so hot, but it was really cool. I also really liked the place in Phnom Penh. We had an apartment in a hotel, and it had a rooftop swimming pool, and we arrived there, went upstairs at sunset, and it was stunning. So we'd love to like go swimming, well, a couple of days actually. We'd like have a swim, do some work, have a swim, do some work, and it was so nice to like go off exploring and then come home and go for a swim on the rooftop at sunset. That was one of my favourite ones. Ahmed, staying on the beach with the fish just next door, was one of my favourites. Where else? You go.
Cat Island.
Oh yeah.
Very nice and stupidly cheap accommodation. So €6 a night.
Yeah.
They had puppies. They had like 6 or 7 baby pugs that were like a few weeks old. It was so cute.
So cute.
But the family also was very, very kind. So that was a very nice stay. Langkawi, because of the hospitality of Mama Yati and Papa Mas.
So good. You have to go there if you're going to Langkawi. They were amazing.
The staying on the beach in Koh Lanta, Thailand, just because I love being on the beach, and living on the beach is a dream. I really enjoyed our accommodation in Jodhpur in India, the Blue City. The family was really nice. Yeah. The mum was cooking an insane breakfast every morning that was so good.
It was different every day as well.
We stayed a week. She made the effort to make us try something new every day. The house was beautiful. Like the shape of the doors and everything was stunning. And they were generally a really nice family. Yeah. The mum, really the dad, nice. The sister, and the main host, like the guy. And and then Ahmed as well. Again, living on the beach. That was
And of course the YHA in Sydney.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was a really good view. I worked with them actually. They let us stay for 2 nights for free in exchange for a YouTube video, which was really exciting because that was one of the first, probably the first actually time that's ever happened.
Yeah, rooftop looking at the
that was a really cool one. Like it was really nice accommodation, and it felt really special to be able to do that with my YouTube. And then we spent 2 or 3 nights in another hotel. It was awful. So it really made you realise how lovely the YHA in Sydney Harbour really was. Another one I think was in Georgetown in Malaysia. So there's the city, and then there's the jetties. There was Chu jetty, there was different jetties, clan jetties, that's the word. So there was the main town, and then there was clan jetties. So there's about 6 or 7, and they'd all come off, and there's like a whole like community living on this jetty with
of Chinese people.
Yeah, of these like houses. And the Chinese community moved to Malaysia, and the Malaysians wouldn't give them any land, so instead they built these jetties and built their communities there. So 1 or 2 of them have temples, they have houses, they have community centres, things like that. And the first time I went to Georgetown, because we went twice, the first time we stayed a little bit out of town. And then I said to Joe, I thought, God, it'd be so cool to stay here if we ever come back. And something I just found out, because I looked on the maps, is that 2 of the places on the last one that we went to, one of them was a hostel and one of them was a 2-star hotel. So even though we've not done it personally, I kind of would recommend staying in one of these. I think it would be so nice and quiet and calm. You're so close to the city centre without being like on a main road, obviously. I think it'd be nice to hear the water in the mornings and things like that. So I think that is definitely something that if I was to come back, that I would choose to do, is to stay in one of these. I think it's such a unique experience and something that I don't think we've done before, have we? We haven't really stayed on a house on stilts before. No. So that could be something to do if you're ever coming to Georgetown. We ended up going back like 6 weeks later or something, and then found an Airbnb on the Chu jetty, and it was so cool to stay there. Like, it didn't have internet, The lighting was terrible. The furniture was not great. Like, you know, it wasn't a nice place. But it was really fun to be on the water, go to sleep hearing the water underneath you, like coming in and out, and just seeing the locals, because tourists...
And when you were pooping, it was going down to you.
But tourists aren't allowed on the jetty, from 9 p.m. till 9 a.m. So at night time, it's just us and the local people that actually live there. So that was quite a fun experience. Like I said, not like the best, most, you know, gorgeous place, but it was an experience.
Yeah, different,
Yeah. Next question. Did you face any challenges or setbacks during your travels, and how did you deal with them? Food poisoning. Hate to harp on about it, but honestly, that was awful twice.
I didn't think I felt many challenges. I think we've been pretty lucky that everything went as planned. The only thing I would change is I would have accelerated India to live quicker. Like it is funny, like we are building this life to have as much freedom as possible, and when we could have taken advantage of this freedom, we didn't, because we were booking usually things like 2 or 3 weeks ahead. So we were like, well, we've paid for that, so we can't cancel because we have our flight already and our train for this and that. When we should have just said, like, fuck this, we're gonna lose $200 or $300, but we cancel everything and we just do like 2 nights there, 3 nights there, whatever. We go everywhere we want to go, but we do it in 2 or 3 weeks rather than 6 weeks. And yeah, we're gonna lose a few $100 because we book things, but at least we'll be happier. That's the only thing I would change. And yeah, we didn't use our we used our flexibility on a good way, that when we liked the place, we stayed longer.
Yeah.
But we didn't when we didn't like it. We felt trapped and we didn't untrap ourselves where we could have. That was silly from us. So yeah, that was my lesson learned.
Yeah, because like you said, we spent 6 weeks in India, and towards the end of that 6 weeks, we were just not nice people. No. We were just so like done with it all, like the whole thing. We didn't like leaving the hotel. We just couldn't be arsed with the sound, people. Like it got to the point where we really weren't happy. So yeah, I think that was a challenge. I think also just being in India in general and just feeling uncomfortable a lot of the time was a challenge for me, and the staring from the men and then wanting to take photos and videos of me all the time, or just feeling like I was being watched, and I just felt really uncomfortable a lot of the time. So that was definitely a challenge. But yeah, in terms of setbacks, like we didn't really, you know, nothing got stolen, nothing got cancelled, all the hotels were legit, everywhere was fine, like, you know, nothing bad happened, and I'm so grateful. I was saying actually this yesterday that, like, you know, I think if something bad happens to you when you're travelling, or traumatic or awful, whatever it is, I think it could really put you off travelling. But I think we've been so lucky that everything we've done so far, we've been good, like we've been fine.
Yeah. Like the only thing...
I will say, I think you're very good at researching accommodation. You're very good at researching like buses and trains and things like that, and making sure, you know, we'll pay an extra €2, but we'll get a bus that we know has a good reputation rather than what's a little bit cheaper but has a worse reputation. Yeah. So you're very good at trying to like make sure that we're safe and that we're comfortable without blowing the budget, but also not being too cheap that it causes something to go wrong. Yeah,
I do spend hours trying to make sure that we book the right thing for our own sanity and safety.
Yeah.
I guess the only thing I would say, and this is a very first world
problem.
I just hate to be scammed. I just hate to be taken advantage because I have more money than them.
Yeah. It happened a few times.
And like, you know, you book a trip, you agree on the price, and then when you go to pay at the end, it's like, oh no, but there was a price per person. It's like, no, dude, like that's not what you said. Like, and then if you don't have the right amount of money, you know, let's say something is 200, and I only have 500, so I give them 500 expecting 300 back, and it's like, it give you 100, and it's like, oh, tip, and you want to keep that, and it's like, no, you owe me 300. It's like, no, 200 ish. It's like, things like that, like just dishonest.
That legit happened in India.
And also like this boat tour in Hoi An a couple of times when just like people take advantage of you having more money. And again, I'm saying first world problem because we're talking about €2 or €3, but I just don't like this dishonesty. I just this thing like that. It's not the amount; it's more like the principle.
Yeah.
Like I hate to be taken advantage of and feeling scammed just because I have more money than them. Like I just don't like this dynamic of just being dishonest. And yeah, that just annoys me. But I mean, yeah, it's not that we lost much money, but it just annoys me.
It's just the principle of it.
Yeah.
Like if you agree on a price and you agree on a service, then you pay that, but then actually they keep half the money that they owe you back.
Yeah.
Or like you have an argument with them about it, and it's just you then feel like a dickhead because you're like, no, I want my 60p back, please. Or like.
It's just the principle. Like
Yeah.
Like just be honest. That's it.
But generally, I think we have been very, very lucky.
Fortunate. Yeah.
Last question is, what advice would you give to others planning a similar long-term journey through Asia?
Do it.
Do it.
Just do it.
I think I said this in one of the other videos. Get comfy shoes. I've recently switched.
Oh, you're being specific.
I've recently switched to barefoot shoes and they feel great. But I think either way, just get really good shoes because you spend a lot of time walking. And if you have shoes that cause you blisters or it's just not fun, make sure. I said this in another video. I'm sure I don't remember which one, but like make sure you have things that make you feel good. So I bring nail varnish with me. Really not necessary, but I enjoy it. I also have a bag of I have a couple of nice pairs of earrings that I'll wear like once a month and be like, ooh, got my earrings on. So like bring things with you that makes you feel good.
It's a funny one because you can go you can go like practical, like try to plan, like stuff like that.
I think leave room for spontaneity is another good one because you can plan things, but it's also nice. Like one of our, we did videos at the end of every single country we visited, and one of our top things we did in every single place was, I really enjoy just walking around.
Yeah.
And I think giving yourself time to do that, because I think a lot of people when they go on holiday, when they do this sort of thing, they'll go, like we meet people and they're literally in a place for like one night. They get there in the morning,
see the building,
do a day trip, see the Taj Mahal, move the next day, get there, do the thing, go the next day. And it's very rushed, very like go. But I think actually a lot of the, smaller moments are actually really beautiful as well. So going to a local restaurant 3, 4, 5 times and them getting to know you and them feeling really grateful that you keep going back. Getting to know the Airbnb hosts, rather than staying one night and you just come and go, actually staying there and talking with them, walking around, seeing the roads that aren't necessarily the top road to see. Obviously be safe, don't go into dangerous neighbourhoods, but like leaving space and room for spontaneity. And in terms of like, in Lanka, Mummy had to be like, oh, on Friday I'm going to Tuba Island, do you want to come with me? And it was like, well, I was meant to work, but yeah, okay, why not? We'll, do that the next day instead. So we'd go off and get like an amazing crab meal on the beach with no one else there. And, there's a lot of, you can plan things as much as you want, but I think try and plan at least a day where you can just explore and just see what happens and try and enjoy that as well.
Yeah, I guess in a safe way, like say yes to things.
Yeah.
In a safe way, don't be stupid, obviously, but say yes to things like, if you see some random food on the side of the street, try it. Might be bad, but it might also be the best thing ever. You never know.
I'm the worst at trying drinks.
Yeah,
I always try drinks.
But
every single time it's awful. Do you remember the drinks in India? I got lemonade.
Oh, you had piss, yeah.
Tasted like piss, and I was sure the guy had served me urine. Like, I was sure he'd looked at me and thought, I'm going to piss in her cup. I then had it again in Rishikesh. It tasted exactly the same way, and it's just the way they do lemonade in India. Not nice, but trying things I think is good.
I would say like, if I want to go practical, just like be mindful with your money. Like I said, like if you travel for long term, remember you're not on vacation. Don't burn during your first 2 weeks half of your budget.
Yeah.
Because you're like, woohoo, this is fun. Have good shoes. I would say for the rest in Asia, like don't overthink your packing because clothes are very cheap over there. Like t-shirt are like €1 and short of €1. So like don't overthink it because if you miss something, you can just buy it there.
Yeah.
So really like focus on what you probably won't find there. Like good pair of shoes, tech maybe, stuff like that.
If you're someone like me who has a particular bra size, bras, like I'm not going to find my bras in Bangkok.
But like t-shirt, short, a towel, like all those stuff, like you don't need to pack all your shampoo and stuff like she did. She left, that was in Peru, but same example, with like 5 soap bar that was sustainable, whatever, and you can buy all those shit where you are. They have everything that you need. So just focus on the essential. Everything else, don't overthink it because you will find it if you have to, So like don't overpack, like a pain when you have to pack every week to have to faff. She'll tell you about it. So that's like on the practical side. Yeah, like be open-minded, be open to do spontaneous stuff. Try to find out of the, like, what is it, beaten path?
Off the beaten path.
Activities, stuff like that, step away from the Lonely Planet top 5 main things to do in each place. So keep room for the not main attraction of everything,
If you do want to find main attractions though, what I do is either literally search on Google and it gives you a list and like puts it on a map, Or I just go on Google Maps on my phone and like just zoom in quite a bit and just move myself around, and you find like a church, you might find a this, that.
ChatGPT, honestly, those days.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. But you might find like a temple or just something a little bit different that's not necessarily on the list, or a park or a square or whatever it is. But if you zoom quite far in and just kind of move your map around, you'll find little things. But yeah, ChatGPT, what we've been doing recently is rather than paying for guides, go on ChatGPT and say, hey, we are currently at XYZ, please can you tell me about XYZ? And then it gives you some information. You say, okay, well, I'm now at this part of the temple, tell me about this, or tell me about the history or the culture.
Or like you take a picture and it's like, what is this building? And it tells you about it.
Yeah.
If you have the paid version, so yeah, you don't need guides anymore.
Yeah, you don't need tour guide.
No, yeah, like keep it simple. Just do it. Honestly, like it's worth it. I don't think you're gonna regret going on a trip. I don't think at the end you're gonna be like, damn, why did I go for 1 year traveling around Asia? That was a stupid idea. Like, it might sound scary, it might sound whatever it is, like discomfortable or this or that, whatever. You're probably gonna have a sick time. It's an amazing part of the world. People are super nice. It's beautiful. A lot of nature, culture, amazing food, and you're gonna have a blast. Whatever you like, whatever way you like to travel is gonna be fun. So just go for it and enjoy it while you can.
We did a whole video talking about the finances of how much it cost us for a year. I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning of the video because no one's going to make it to an hour, 20 minutes in. No. But if you are still here, thanks for being here. We did a whole video talking about the finances. Either have the amount of money that you need in the bank so you don't need to work, or find a job online or something that you can do to sustain your travels, because we both work. Like I said, we'll go to a cafe every now and then, more often than that actually. We do work quite a bit. But we work alongside our travel, so we can afford to do this. So I think either find a job online or make sure you have enough in the bank so you can just go ahead and do it and not have to work.
That's pretty much it, right? That's probably enough.
I would also say, actually, I feel like Asia is a place where you could be a solo female traveller and feel safe. Everyone is so respectful, so nice, so kind, apart from India, maybe Sri Lanka, other places. Everyone's just so nice and so respectful and so polite and so, welcoming and all the rest of it. So I would definitely feel safe doing that if that's what you're into. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's so long, but we've been wanting to do it for ages now, and we're currently in Mexico, so I've got Mexico vlogs coming as well. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching. Do you have anything else to add? If you made it thus far, put a star emoji in the comment. No one made it that far. If you did, we love you. I don't think anyone did. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye. Bye.